Bound to wed, a man lost in a coma, until a single kiss brought him back. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The fluorescent lights of Westbridge Private Hospital buzzed softly above Anna Monroe as she hurried down the quiet hallway, her sneakers whispering against the polished floor. It was nearly midnight, a time when most wings of the hospital went silent, but tonight felt different. The air felt heavier, as if holding its breath. Minutes earlier, she had been called to the office of Dr. Harris, the head of neurology. He never summoned nurses randomly, especially not during an overnight shift. Anna's palms were still damp as she reached the elevator, replaying his words again and again. "I have a special patient for you, but this assignment is not for the faint of heart." When the elevator doors opened on the top floor, Anna stepped into a hallway she almost never visited. Everything here screamed luxury. Dark oak panels, soft gold lighting, a private security camera at every corner. Even the temperature felt warmer, as if someone had curated the air itself. She hesitated outside the suite, marked VIP01, bracing herself. Then she pushed the door open. The room was dim and silent, except for the steady rhythm of a heart monitor. In the center of the suite, surrounded by machines and soft white linen, lay Grant Hale, 32 years old, billionaire CEO of Hale Industries, and unconscious for the last 8 months. Anna had seen his photo before everyone had. There had been a dozen news articles about his mysterious crash off the North River Bridge, but seeing him like this, vulnerable and unmoving, felt different. His jaw was strong, his dark hair slightly overgrown, his lashes resting against pale skin. He looked almost peaceful, if one ignored the tubes and the machines that kept him alive. Dr. Harris's voice echoed in her mind. "You are the only one I trust with him. There were signs the crash may not have been an accident. Until we know more, we need someone attentive, careful, and discreet." Anna stepped closer to the bed, her throat tightening. She had taken care of comatose patients before, but never someone whose life was this entangled with secrets, money, and danger. And she certainly had never been told what she was told tonight, because along with the assignment, Dr. Harris had placed a document on his desk, a legal document, a marriage record Grant Hale had signed just days before the accident. A marriage record with Anna's name on it. She still did not know how that made sense. She had never met him before, not once. But the paperwork was real, his signature was real, and the judge's stamp was real. "You are his legal guardian," Dr. Harris had said quietly. "Whatever happened before the crash, he chose you." Anna swallowed hard and forced her trembling hands to move. She adjusted the blanket on Grant's chest, then reached for the warm cloth prepared for his nightly care routine. "All right, Grant," she whispered, her voice breaking the silence of the suite. "I guess it is just you and me tonight." Her fingers brushed his skin, warm, soft, human. A strange shiver ran through her, something she could not explain, something that made her glance at his face again. He looked impossibly still. "I do not know why I am here," she murmured, dipping the cloth again. "And I definitely do not know why you signed those papers, but I promise I will take care of you." Outside, thunder rolled softly against the window. Inside, the monitor kept its steady rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. As Anna leaned closer, she could have sworn just for a moment that she felt his fingers twitch beneath the blanket. She froze. "Grant?" Silence. The room waited with her, as if sensing something shifting, something waking beneath the surface. And that was the moment Anna Monroe's life quietly, irreversibly changed. Anna stood still for several seconds, unsure whether the small twitch she felt had been real or just a trick of exhaustion. The suite remained silent except for the steady rhythm of the machines, but something inside her shifted. She drew in a slow breath, steadied her hands, and continued her work, reminding herself that tiny muscle movements sometimes happened in long-term coma cases. Still, she could not shake the feeling that the room had changed, as if Grant himself had responded to her presence. She checked his vitals, adjusted the drip, and wrote the numbers in the care log. The pen trembled slightly between her fingers. "You are doing fine," she whispered, unsure whether she was talking to him or talking to herself. We will get through this night together." After finishing the bathing routine, she smoothed the blanket across his chest and stepped back. Her reflection in the window looked tired, pale, and smaller than she felt. 8 months in a coma, 8 months of silence. And yet, standing beside him, she felt something she had not felt in a long time: responsibility that mattered. At 2:30 in the morning, she performed the range of motion exercises Dr. Harris had assigned. She lifted his arm gently, rotating the joint, keeping the muscles from locking. She moved slowly, carefully, her voice soft as she counted each repetition. It was part of the routine from the medical manual, but the warmth she felt had nothing to do with procedure. When she lifted his hand for the final stretch, his fingers curled again. This time, Anna gasped. She stared at his hand, waiting for more movement, but it remained still. Her pulse sped up. She leaned close and looked at his face, searching for any other sign. Nothing. "Grant, if that was you, I am here," she whispered. The heart monitor ticked on, steady and calm. She considered calling Dr. Harris, but she knew what he would say. 2 small movements were not enough to declare neurological change. She needed more evidence. She placed his hand back on the blanket and rested her own hand over it for a moment. A small connection, gentle and human. "I hope you hear me somehow," she murmured. As the shift continued, Anna found herself talking to him more, the way some nurses did to keep the room alive. She talked about her mother's medical bills, her fear of losing her apartment, the long nights studying for exams she could barely afford to take. She talked about the strange marriage record that tied her life to his, a record she still did not understand. Her voice was quiet, almost embarrassed. "I do not know why you chose my name," she said as she wiped down the bedside table. "But whatever reason you had, I hope it was good." She glanced toward him, expecting nothing. Instead, she saw the faintest flutter beneath his eyelids. A slow, tiny movement, almost invisible. Her breath caught. She stepped closer, watching carefully. "Grant, can you hear me?" The eyelids stilled again. Yet something deep in her chest knew this was not coincidence. She wrote every detail into the log, marking the exact time and describing the eyelid flutter as clearly as she could. She knew that if this meant something, the record would matter. By dawn, Anna was exhausted, but she refused to leave until the next nurse arrived. She checked his temperature, adjusted his pillow, and dimmed the lights. She brushed a stray strand of hair from his forehead. "I will be back tonight," she whispered softly. "Rest until then." As she turned to leave, the monitor gave a single, sharp spike. Anna spun around, eyes wide, but Grant remained still. The spike vanished as quickly as it came. A shiver ran through her. Something inside that quiet room was waking up. Anna returned to the hospital that evening with a quiet, steady determination she had not felt in months. The memory of the heart monitor spike lingered with her all day, replaying over and over in her mind. She kept asking herself if she had imagined it, if exhaustion had blurred the lines between hope and reality. But deep down, she knew what she saw. Something inside that silent room was shifting. When she entered Grant's suite, the lights were dimmed to a warm glow. The machines hummed their familiar rhythm. Everything appeared unchanged, yet the air felt different, almost expectant. Anna set down her bag, washed her hands, and approached the bed. "Hello, Grant," she murmured. "It is me again." She began the routine exactly as Dr. Harris trained her. She checked his vitals, then adjusted the support boots to prevent pressure injuries. Her movements were gentle and confident, but her eyes kept drifting to his face, searching for any sign of awareness. The quiet in the room wrapped around her like a blanket. As she prepared the basin for his evening bath, she found herself speaking again, her voice soft but steady. "I wrote everything down in the log. If something really is happening in your mind, I want them to believe me." She dipped the cloth into warm water and pressed it to his shoulder. The moment her hand made contact, the heart monitor spiked again, not dramatically, but enough to make her freeze. She waited, breath held. Beep, beep, beep. The rhythm steadied. "Grant," she whispered, "if you feel anything at all, I am right here." No movement followed, yet the echo of the spike remained in her chest. She continued bathing him slowly, wiping along his arms and across his chest. When she lifted his right hand to clean his palm, the muscles twitched again, more noticeably this time. Anna felt her breath catch. That was not a random muscle reflex. Not twice, not 3 times. She leaned close, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can you hear me?" His eyelids quivered just once, faint but undeniable. Anna stepped back in shock. Her heart raced with a mixture of fear, hope, and disbelief. She grabbed the chair and sat beside him, unable to look away from his face. "Grant, if you hear my voice, try again," she said gently. "You are safe. You are not alone." The room remained still, but the energy was different now. She felt it deep in her bones. Anna decided to test something. She stood up and moved to the far corner of the room. The monitor did not react. She walked to the doorway. Still nothing. Then she walked back and placed her hand lightly on his arm. The monitor jumped again, a small rise in the heart rate. Her throat tightened. "You respond to touch," she whispered. "You really do." She hurried to record the moment in the care log, noting the time, duration, and what triggered the reaction. She documented everything, knowing it might be the proof she needed. During the range of motion exercises, more small signs appeared. His hand curled slightly when she held it. His throat tightened when she adjusted the pillow. His breathing deepened when she whispered encouragement. Every movement, tiny but real. As she finished the exercises, Anna sat beside him again. Her exhaustion faded beneath a quiet sense of awe. She studied his face, searching for something she had not allowed herself to imagine before. A connection. "I do not know how far you are from waking up," she said softly, "but I promise I will not give up on you." The monitor settled into a calmer, warmer rhythm, almost as if answering her. Outside the window, night rain tapped gently against the glass. Inside, the room felt less like a place of silence and more like a place waiting to breathe again. Anna dimmed the lights and prepared to leave for a short break. As she stepped toward the door, she heard it an unmistakable sound, soft and strained. A breath, not the unconscious kind, a breath with intention. She turned slowly, her heart hammering in her chest. Grant's lips had parted. His chest rose in a deeper inhale. Anna rushed to his side, her voice trembling. "Grant, Grant, can you hear me? Try again. You are safe. I am here." His lashes fluttered, not once, not accidentally, but as if answering her. Something inside him was fighting its way back to the surface, and Anna Monroe was no longer imagining anything. Anna stood frozen for a moment, unsure whether her eyes were deceiving her. Grant's chest rose again in a slow, deliberate inhale, deeper than anything she had seen during his previous shifts. She stepped closer, her pulse quickening with a mixture of fear and hope. "Grant, if you can hear me, try again," she whispered. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, as if gathering strength from somewhere far beneath the surface, his eyelids trembled once more. The movement was faint, but it carried intention. Anna's breath caught. She reached for the call button on reflex, then stopped halfway. She knew this stage. She knew how fragile it was. If she flooded the room with voices and bright lights too soon, it could disrupt the neurological progress forming inside him. She leaned down and spoke softly, her tone steady and warm. "You are doing so well. You are safe. I am right here." The heart monitor responded before he did. The line shifted upward, the rhythm growing stronger, as if his body reacted to her voice alone. Anna pulled the chair close and sat beside him. She took his hand gently, the way she had done so many times, but now it felt different. There was a spark of awareness beneath his skin, a faint tension that did not exist before. She placed her free hand on his forearm. "Grant, if you understand me, you can try to move your hand, even a little." Seconds passed. Long, heavy, silent seconds. Then, slowly, almost painfully, one of his fingers tightened around hers, just the slightest amount, but it was enough to send tears rushing to her eyes. "Oh my gosh, you can hear me," she whispered. "You really can." The monitor beeped faster, reacting to the shift in emotion between them. Anna steadied herself and grabbed the care log, documenting every detail: time, response, stimulus, duration. Her handwriting shook with adrenaline. Once she finished writing, she returned to his side and brushed her fingers lightly along his jawline, wiping away the dampness from his skin. "I know this is hard, but you are not alone. You have survived 8 months in the dark. I will not let go of your hand now." As if to prove he heard her, his breathing deepened again. Anna stayed by his side for nearly an hour, whispering, encouraging, giving him the gentle stability he seemed to respond to. The suite felt warmer than usual, as if life itself had begun to seep back into the room. When Dr. Harris finally entered for the morning rounds, Anna almost burst into tears with relief. "Dr. Harris," she said quickly, "there have been changes, real changes." He raised an eyebrow as he scanned the machines. "Vitals look elevated. What did you observe?" Anna walked him through everything, the finger movement, the eyelid flutter, the controlled inhale. She handed him the care log, filled with precise notes. He looked through the entries slowly, his expression shifting from skepticism to measured intrigue. "You did excellent work, Anna," he said at last. "If these responses continue, we may need to prepare for neurological re-evaluation." The words hit her harder than she expected. Prepare for re-evaluation. Prepare for awakening. Her pulse raced with hope. Dr. Harris placed a hand on her shoulder. "Whatever you are doing, keep doing it. He clearly responds to you." When he left, Anna remained beside Grant, absorbing the weight of the moment. She reached for a clean washcloth and dipped it into warm water, gently pressing it to his forehead. "You are fighting your way back, Grant," she whispered. "I can feel it. I'm not going anywhere." "Where's—" The morning sun began to rise outside the window, casting soft gold across the room. The light touched his face, as if inviting him back into the world. Anna clasped his hand again, and this time his fingers curled around hers a little more firmly. It was not imagination. It was not coincidence. It was the beginning. Something inside Grant Hale was waking, and Anna Monroe was the first person he reached for. Anna did not sleep at all the next day. Her mind kept replaying the sight of Grant's fingers tightening around hers, the subtle breath he pushed through his lips, the way his eyelids tried to lift against months of silence. Every detail echoed inside her, steady and warm, urging her to return to the hospital as soon as her next shift began. When she stepped back into his suite that night, she felt the difference immediately. The air held a quiet tension, not threatening, but expectant. The machines hummed with their usual rhythm, but Grant himself felt changed, as if some invisible barrier inside him had cracked open. Anna moved to his bedside and gently touched his arm. "Grant, I am back," she whispered. The heart monitor lifted in response. Not a spike, not an alarm, just a calm and steady rise. A peaceful acknowledgement. Anna felt her throat tighten. She began the routine with extra care, checking his breathing patterns and blood pressure. Everything looked stable. When she lifted his hand for the range of motion exercises, she felt the tiniest attempt from him to help her. The muscles that had once been limp now offered faint resistance. "You are doing so well," she murmured. "You are getting stronger. I can feel it." She rotated his wrist, stretched each finger, and flexed the joints. When she reached the final stretch, his thumb pressed gently into her palm. It was soft, but it was intentional. Anna smiled through a sudden rush of emotion. As she continued, she found herself speaking to him even more. Not medical instructions, not clinical observations, but pieces of her own life, the way she had before, except now each word seemed to matter. "My mother used to tell me that people in comas hear the world differently," she said softly. "Not through sound, but through feeling. Maybe that is why you responded when I held your hand." The monitor ticked a little faster, as if agreeing. She placed a warm cloth along his forearm, wiping slowly. His breathing deepened again. She leaned closer, brushing hair from his forehead. "You are safe with me," she whispered. "You have nothing to fear." His eyelids fluttered. This time, the movement did not stop. His lashes trembled in rapid, uneven waves, fighting through the weight of months in darkness. Anna froze, her heart pounding. She leaned over him, her voice steady but trembling. "Grant, it is all right. I am here. You can open your eyes." Slowly, painfully, his eyelids lifted. It was only a sliver of an opening at first, just enough for her to see a faint glimmer of hazel beneath the dim light. His eyes were unfocused, drifting, trying to understand the world around him. Anna felt her breath catch in her throat. "You are doing it," she whispered in awe. "You are waking up." His eyes moved toward her voice. Not perfectly, not smoothly, but enough to show recognition of a presence. His mouth parted, struggling to form a sound. A low, broken exhale escaped him. Anna leaned even closer. "If you can speak, try slowly. I am right here." His lips trembled, his throat tightened, and then, barely audible, a raspy whisper slipped out, rough and fragile. "You—" The single word shattered her. Tears welled up before she could stop them. He had spoken. He had reached through the darkness to find her. She took his hand gently, pressing it between both of hers. "It is me," she whispered. "I am here, Grant. I am not leaving you." His fingers tried to curl toward her again. Tired but determined, the machines held their breath. The room fell utterly still. And in that moment, for the first time since the accident, Grant Hale was not just a patient. He was a man fighting to return to life, guided by the voice he had somehow clung to through every silent hour. Anna brushed her thumb along his knuckles, steadying her own breathing. "Welcome back," she whispered softly, and for the first time, Grant Hale opened his eyes fully. Anna stood perfectly still as Grant's eyes opened wider, adjusting to the dim light of the suite. His gaze was shaky and unfocused at first, drifting from the ceiling to the window before finally settling on her. The moment their eyes met, Anna felt something warm anchor itself inside her chest. He was awake, truly awake. She leaned closer, her voice soft and steady. "Grant, you are safe. Take your time." Grant blinked slowly, as if trying to piece together where he was. His breathing came in shallow waves, his body exhausting itself just to stay conscious. Anna knew she had to move carefully. Awakening from a long coma was never dramatic or sudden. It was slow, fragile, like learning how to exist again. She reached for the small cup of sponge swabs and dipped one into water. "Your throat must hurt," she murmured. "Let me help you." She gently touched the swab to his lips. Grant parted them weakly, letting the moisture in. His throat moved in a small swallow, strained but deliberate. When he exhaled, it trembled through him, as if the simple act had drained all his strength. "Good," Anna encouraged. "You are doing very well." His eyes remained on her, even without words. They held something that made her heart tighten, a question, a plea, a recognition she could not explain. She brushed her fingers along the side of his face, wiping away a small tear forming at the corner of his eye. "You have been asleep for a long time," she whispered, "but you are not alone anymore." Grant's lips moved again. She leaned in, trying to catch the sound. "How long?" His voice was barely audible, thin and broken, but Anna understood. 8 months, she answered gently. "You have been fighting for 8 months, and now you are back." He blinked again, processing the words. His eyes grew wet, not from emotion she could read clearly, but from the sheer effort of being awake. His hand twitched, searching blindly. Anna slipped her hand into his and felt him cling weakly to her fingers. "I am right here," she said. "You can rest, but do not be afraid. I will stay with you." As she checked his vitals, she saw improvements she had only hoped for. Stronger oxygen levels, more consistent breathing, slight muscle activation. He was responding to touch, to sound, to her presence. Everything in her training told her this was remarkable progress. Dr. Harris rushed in minutes later, alerted by Anna's urgent call. He paused at the doorway, stunned, then moved quickly to examine Grant. "Mr. Hale, can you hear me?" he asked, speaking louder than Anna did. Grant flinched slightly at the sharp tone and shifted his gaze away, as if the noise overwhelmed him. Anna stepped in immediately. "Softly, Doctor. He responds better when the room is calm." Dr. Harris adjusted his approach, lowering his voice. Grant's eyes returned to Anna's face, steadying there as if she were the only anchor he trusted. The doctor noticed. "It seems he recognizes you," he said quietly. Anna felt her cheeks warm. "He reacted to my voice even before he woke up." Dr. Harris nodded, observing the data on the monitor. "This is extraordinary. We will begin cognitive assessments tomorrow. For now, minimal stimulation. He needs rest." After he left, Anna dimmed the lights again and sat beside Grant. His eyes were still on her, heavy but aware. She gently smoothed the blanket over him and whispered, "You did something incredible today." His fingers tightened weakly around hers once more, a silent "thank you." Anna leaned a little closer, her voice soft as breath. "Sleep now. When you wake up again, I will be here." "Command." Grant's eyes closed slowly, not in unconsciousness, but in fragile rest. For the first time in 8 months, he slept with purpose, not survival, and Anna Monroe stayed at his side, holding the hand of a man who had chosen her long before he ever opened his eyes. Anna stayed beside Grant through most of the night, watching him drift in and out of light sleep. Every so often, he opened his eyes for a moment, always searching for her first. Each time he found her, his breathing steadied. It was as if her presence was the only thing anchoring him back to the waking world. By morning, his strength improved enough that Dr. Harris approved a limited neurological assessment. Anna stood nearby, close enough for Grant to see her, but far enough to give the doctor space. Grant struggled to follow the small penlight at first, but after several seconds, his eyes tracked it with slow determination. When the doctor asked him to squeeze his hand, the response was faint but real. He whispered his name with effort, the syllables gravelly and thin. It was not perfect, but it was progress. After the assessment, Anna helped settle him back into bed. She placed a hand gently over his. "You are getting stronger," she said softly. "Every hour, I see more of you returning." Grant stared at her, his brows knitting weakly, as if forming a question he did not yet have the strength to ask. She leaned closer, brushing a stray hair from his forehead. "What is it?" she asked. He took a long, shaky breath, his voice barely a whisper. "What happened?" Anna hesitated for a moment. She wanted to protect him. She wanted to shield him from fear, but she also knew he deserved the truth. "You were in a car crash," she said calmly. 8 months ago, they said the brakes failed." His eyes flickered with confusion, then something darker, fear. He tried to speak again, but the strain was too much. His hands trembled. Anna squeezed them gently, grounding him. "It is all right," she assured him. "You do not need to remember everything right now. Your mind will come back in pieces. We can take it one moment at a time." But later that night, when she was cleaning the bedside cabinet, she noticed something that made her pause. A file folder had been placed on the shelf by the on-call staff, containing the police report and the latest findings on Grant's accident. She skimmed it quickly, her breath growing shallow. There were inconsistencies, missing camera frames, altered timestamps, a mechanic's note that had been crossed out in red ink. Someone had tampered with the brakes before the crash. Someone had intended for his car to fail. Anna's heart pounded. She read deeper, flipping through the documents. A financial transaction appeared on the last page, large, suspicious, paid out only 2 days before the accident. The name on the transfer made her stomach twist. It belonged to Nathan Hale, Grant's half-brother. She looked from the folder to Grant's quiet form on the bed. The rise and fall of his chest was slow and steady, unaware of the storm gathering outside his walls. He trusted her. He reached for her, and now she held a truth that could shatter everything. Anna closed the folder carefully and slid it back into place. Her hands trembled as she touched the side of Grant's face. "You survived something you were never meant to survive," she whispered. "And whoever tried to silence you, they are not finished." The machines hummed softly, steady as ever. But for the first time, Anna felt the danger in the silence, and she knew that Grant Hale had woken up into a world far more dangerous than the one he left. Anna barely slept after discovering the truth in the accident file. Even when she closed her eyes, the name Nathan Hale burned in her thoughts. She tried to focus on her shift, but every beep of the heart monitor felt sharper. Every shadow in the hallway felt heavier. Someone had tried to end Grant's life. Someone close, someone who could walk into this hospital at any time. When she stepped into Grant's suite that night, her heartbeat steadied only when she saw him awake, propped slightly against the pillows. His eyes were clearer than before, a soft hazel searching the room until they found her. The moment they did, his shoulders relaxed. "Anna," he whispered, his voice still fragile but stronger than yesterday. She moved to his side, forcing a gentle smile she did not fully feel. "I am here. How are you feeling?" He swallowed, his throat tightening. "Better, when you are here." The simple honesty of his words nearly broke her. She brushed a hand along his forearm, grounding both of them. "You are making incredible progress. Dr. Harris will start physical therapy soon. He 12 every C." Grant nodded weakly, but his eyes drifted toward the window, dark with a memory he could not yet reach. "The crash," he murmured. "I remember the bridge." Then nothing. Anna felt her pulse spike. She did not want to panic him, but she also knew she could not hide what she had learned. Not entirely. "There is something you should know," she said softly. "I found new information in your file. The brakes did not fail on their own." His eyes snapped to hers. Confusion, fear, a spark of anger. "Sabotage." She nodded slowly. "Yes, someone tampered with your car, and there was a financial transfer from Nathan." Grant's breathing hitched, his hand tightening around hers. "Nathan, my father's son," he whispered. "He wanted the company. He wanted everything." Anna leaned closer. "You are safe now, but you need to focus on healing. We will tell the authorities, and Dr. Harris will lock your case file." Before she could say more, the door clicked open. Anna froze. Nathan Hale stepped into the room. He wore a dark suit, perfectly pressed, and a polite smile that did not reach his eyes. "Well," he said lightly. "Look who finally woke up." Grant stiffened. Anna felt the air thin with tension. Nathan approached the bed with slow, deliberate steps. "You gave us quite a scare, brother," he said. 8 months. The board has practically declared you a miracle." Anna stepped subtly between them, shielding Grant without making it obvious. "Visiting hours are limited," she said evenly. "He needs rest." Nathan's eyes flicked to her, cold, calculated. "You must be the famous nurse, the one he responds to. How touching." His tone prickled Anna's skin. Grant tried to speak. "Nathan, the accident." Nathan lifted a hand. "Let us not start chasing wild theories. The police cleared the case. Mechanical failure, nothing more." He said it too quickly, too smoothly. Anna felt Grant's fingers tremble in hers. Fear, or anger, or both. Nathan leaned closer to the bed, lowering his voice. "You should focus on recovering. Leave the company to me. I have everything under control." He straightened, nodded curtly, and exited with the same unsettling calm. The moment the door shut, Grant sagged back against the pillows, breathing hard. Anna hurried to ease the tension in his shoulders. "He knows you woke up," she whispered, "and he is nervous." Grant closed his eyes. "He is dangerous, Anna." "I know," she said softly, "but you are not facing this alone." She helped him adjust against the pillows, her hands steady despite the fear rattling through her body. "Tomorrow, I will speak with Dr. Harris. We will secure your room, restrict access, and update the police." Grant opened his eyes again, gazing at her with a depth that made her chest ache. "Why are you doing all this? You barely even know me." Anna's breath softened. "I know you fought to come back. I know you held my hand before you could speak. I know you survived something terrible. That is enough." His fingers reached for hers, trembling but deliberate. "Anna, thank you." She held his hand tightly, whispering, "Rest. Tomorrow, everything changes." As Grant drifted into sleep, the machines hummed with a calmer rhythm, but Anna remained awake, sitting guard beside him. Someone had tried to end his life, and now that he was awake, they might try again. Anna barely left Grant's side after Nathan's visit. She notified Dr. Harris at sunrise and handed him the accident folder with shaking fingers. By noon, hospital security had been tightened, Grant's room access was restricted, and the police reopened the investigation. Word traveled quickly, and within hours, officers escorted Nathan Hale out of the building for questioning. Grant watched from his bed as Nathan passed the suite in handcuffs, his expression twisted with disbelief. A quiet tremor moved through Grant's body, part grief, part relief. Anna stood beside him, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. "It is over," she whispered. "You are safe now." Grant's eyes stayed on the empty hallway long after Nathan disappeared. When he finally turned toward her, emotion welled in his voice. "You saved my life, Anna, not just by caring for me in that bed. You protected me when I could not protect myself." Anna shook her head, tears forming. "You did the hard part. You fought your way back." He lifted a trembling hand toward her, and she helped him clasp her fingers. "I heard you," he said softly, "even in the dark. Your voice, it was the only thing I could follow." Her breath caught. She brushed her thumb along the back of his hand, grounding him the way she always had. "I am glad you found your way back." In the days that followed, Grant's strength returned steadily. Physical therapy began, and Anna stayed with him through every session. Each step he took was shaky, but he always looked for her first, always reached for her hand. 2 weeks later, he was strong enough to walk the hospital garden. Anna guided him along the stone path, the sunlight warm over his shoulders. Grant stopped near a bench, turning to her with an expression she had not yet seen clear, steady, full of meaning. "There is one more thing I need to ask," he said quietly. "Before the accident, I signed those papers. I chose you. And now that I am awake, I still choose you." Anna's breath trembled. "Grant." He took both her hands in his, the touch warm and deliberate. "You were the first person I saw when I opened my eyes, the first person I trusted, the only person who stayed. I want this marriage to be real, if you want it too." Anna felt her heart swell, soft and certain. She nodded once, gently, with tears rising. "Yes, Grant, I want it to be real." "Bitey do." He leaned forward, closing the small distance between them, and pressed a delicate, grateful kiss against her lips, slow, warm, and full of the life he had fought so hard to reclaim. The kiss that once woke him, now bound them together forever. And in that quiet garden, hand in hand, Grant Hale finally stepped into the future he was never meant to survive, because Anna Monroe had carried him back into the light.